semester ended Tuesday for Syracuse, but SU has one more test to pass in non-conference play. St. Francis of Pennsylvania visits the Dome alongside 8,000 loud and local students on school day. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Ian Nicholas alongside Jesse Cook. And Jesse, both Syracuse and St. Francis trying to round out non-conference play with a positive performance. The Orange, a 25-game win streak at home against non-conference opponents.
That's right, Ian. There's a lot to protect for Syracuse, especially in front of this roaring crowd of students. But like you said, that last test before ACC play, this is how Syracuse sees if it's ready for teams like Notre Dame and the rest of that ranked slate.
Well, Syracuse wasn't ready at times for Cornell on Monday. The Orange fell behind by as much as 14. But one of the main reasons why SU stayed undefeated at home was because of Georgia Woolley.
And she showed last year that she can hit it from just about anywhere on the floor, and she proved it again. 4 for 7 from three-point land. That's more than half of her points coming from long range.
The second leading scorer on this team on the game and on the season. Lead scorer for St. Francis, a true freshman, Kendall Carruthers.
She's the only active player with more than 10 points per game under her belt. Carruthers has shown up as someone who can produce on offense in big numbers, and she's received high praise from head coach Keela Whittington, talking about how she really has a lot of mobility inside, and she can transition that to work around the perimeter.
Carruthers, the fifth leading scorer in the NEC, and her head coach, who's now in her 5th season leading the Red Flash. You already mentioned her, Keela Whittington, who said that this is the youngest team that she's coached, and she's coached at the Division I level for over 30 years. Fair tries to stay hot. Spin and a score. Alyssa Latham had a double-double in her SU debut on Tuesday and cleans up the mess there. Elena Rice, a one-woman effort. She said, give me the ball, Amaya Williams, and let me do my thing. Vonda Paz through 2 defenders. Too easy. She's wearing 2 twos, and she's got 2 goals. The lead back up to 2 for the Qs, 3-1. Smith, off-season knee surgery, dealt with a concussion last year at Alabama. Healthy again for the Orange. Dug out by Searzan. Schlichter snipes it through the back row.
Individually sound, hockey-wise player on the team.
Charlotte DeVries, she's pretty individually sound. And look at that score! Bar down, backhanded Charlotte DeVries. What can't you do? And with that goal, she is tied for 4th most all time in Syracuse history. It's a 13-0 run for SU. Finally creating separation as Erdogan stuck to the floor. Visa tries to reset it as Woolley takes a tumble and giggles as things are getting slippery. Bristol open from the block, but not for long after Verajao with a strong closeout. Syracuse hitting its groove. No look pass to Verajao. How about some rain? Timeout Northeastern.
Why not?
Back-to-back buckets for the Michigan transfer. A fist pump as she hits the bench. The Orange up 20. A BC team that prides itself for its senior leadership, relying on first years. Here's the first year, Searzan. The senior Murphy digs it out. Brooking pops it up sky high. Whacked, but dug out by Burke. A fantastic effort under the net from Syracuse. Again, Schlichter. Bird a free ball. And it's all Syracuse needs.
Because she has a little shimmy over to her right and moves over to her left. That creates an easy opportunity for her to try that hook shot like she did there. Didn't go in, but Central Connecticut State made the contact and put her at the line anyway.
Well, Verajao so nimble because she didn't really grow up playing basketball. She grew up originally with a passion for ballet. Tried ballet, swimming, volleyball, jazz, pretty much everything that wasn't basketball. But she said, for a family that had her grandfather, mother, aunts, and uncles who all played basketball. There was no escaping this life. There's no escaping De'Asia Fair. 20 first half points. An unbelievable talent, continues to get it done.
Only 2 goals for the Seahawks through 4 games, and there is Shaylin Kobrinich, one of the 4 captains on this squad. Her 2nd year wearing the C, well, theoretically that is, and being one of the leaders for a Wagner team only in its 5th year at the Division I level.
You good? Yeah, nice direct line. Ready?
Kobrinich, the insert. Top of the circle. Deflected it in! Wagner strikes first in their first ever meeting with Syracuse. Shaylin Kobrinich, who inserted it, scores.
Alyssa Latham on for the tip for Syracuse. And the freshman wins it easily to Elena Rice, the 5th year, as the Orange start with possession. The last time the Blue Devils were in the Dome, they lost by over 50 to the Orange, as De'Asia Fair misses the 3, and Alyssa Latham loses it down low.
Well, that was a different year for Syracuse. That was a different team in many facets. Syracuse a lot better now, too.
3 returning starters for this Central Connecticut team, including Lanfer and the big Kennefic, as Central Connecticut turns it over quickly on its first possession. Kennefic, the senior from just outside of Washington, D.C., can't corral it in the near corner. Meanwhile, for Syracuse, De'Asia Fair back, as well as Elena Rice. But 3 new players, a couple freshmen in Latham and Burrows, and the transfer from Michigan in Verajal make up the starting 5. Verajal holds top of the key. And De'Asia Fair, the All-ACC preseason member, launches it over to the Australian Sophie Burrows. Rice, a runner, clanks off the back iron. Latham loses control and snatched away by Emma Broom.
This was an early problem for Syracuse against Lafayette. Neither team scored for about the first 2 minutes of action.
Syracuse went on to win that game 75-41 on Tuesday, after the slow start where the Leopards led for the first half of the first quarter. Central Connecticut, meanwhile, off the heels of a 17-point loss to Manhattan. Shot clock down to 5, and Verajal draws the charge against Kennefic. Big on big crime.
And she gets her feet set really late in it. There you go. That's a textbook charge. Felicia Leggett-Jack said that Verajal is someone she's still working back into shape, so it's really promising for Syracuse to see her make such an aggressive play this early on.
Well, the reason she's working herself back into shape as she thinks about the 3 is the grad student, originally from Michigan, did not play at all for the Wolverines a season ago and has not played much over her last 2 collegiate seasons. Burrows for 3, and she banks it in. First points of the first game of his season a few days ago. Deja vu here in the Dome on a Friday night. That's exactly what she does, Jesse. Made
Really?
4 threes in that game on Tuesday.
Really easy to count on her. One of the top players coming out of Australia for her class.
One of 2 freshmen getting the starting nod for the Orange today. Kennefic, the big with the corner 3, and she converts. First 3-pointer on the year for the native of Oakton, Virginia. And only the second 3 through 2 games for Central Connecticut. They only shot 1 of 17 from distance on Monday. Latham, the turnaround, too strong. Amaya Williams, the native of Syracuse, brings it up the floor. Whips it to Kennefic, but deflected on the way. Verajal tussles again with Kennefic in a jump ball.
Well, there's that aggression again for Verajal. Working her back into shape. Mentally, it looks like she's already there.
Verajal, originally from Vitória, a city in southeast Brazil. Spent 4 years at Michigan, but didn't play for the Wolverines last year. Helped Michigan get to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Kennefic again. The Bigs showing their range early on. And Kennefic, all 5 of the Blue Devils' points as they lead.
She started every game last year.
Verajal hasn't started much over the last few years, but you couldn't tell there. Scored 3 points in the opener and already has 2 to tie it up. few minutes into the first quarter. Samora Watson, the transfer of East Carolina, spins to the block, and there she travels. She might have played over 30 minutes in the first game of the year for CCSU, Jesse, on Monday against Manhattan, but Watson only played 7 total minutes a year ago with ECU.
Yeah, plenty of career highs for her in that game. I mean, 15 points. She had never scored more. She had never gotten double digits before.
Verajao on the block. Cross-court feed. Catch and shoot 3. Airmailed by Burrows. Did make 4 triples in an exhibition win against St. Rose last week, but the Australian only shot 2 of 7 from distance on Tuesday against the Leopards. Emma Bruin gets it over to Belle Lanford, the star of this team, denied by the freshman Alyssa Latham. In transition, here's Elena Rice. The Florida native gets it back to Burrows with a lot of room, and she makes it look easy. Burrows, her second basket.
Really impressive use of space there. She took a pick, found herself with no one around, and it was an easy decision for her to shoot that.
Quiet start for Deasia Fair. She's only shot the ball once and is scoreless. Watson off a pick, gets it right to the wrong team. Good pass ahead to, guess who? Deasia Fair. Burrows finds her, and Syracuse up by 4.
That transition offense for Syracuse is something that could really play in key later on. It was a struggle last season, a lot of times missing on those breakaways with that tight defense coming from behind. Not afraid of the threat this time.
Syracuse on a 6-0 run over the last 90 seconds, settling in, trying to pick up its 5th straight all-time win against the Blue Devils. Watson bricks a 3 from the corner. She shot the ball over 20 times on Monday. Deasia Fair's got the green light, and that's why. Back-to-back buckets for the preseason All-ACC teamer in the orange on a 9-0 run as the Cuse lead by 7 halfway through the first quarter.